What year is it? Oh no. Well, I failed my goals. I don't know about you. For those last 2 weeks of 2018, I did not finish my novel. I tell it to finish, and it just keeps getting longer. And I did not do any editing on my finished novel. But instead of moping around, thinking of our own failures from those last 2 weeks of 2018, let's take a look at some of the other failures we stumbled upon last year. The first mega failure that I would like to mention from last year comes from the great AWP, held in Tampa, Florida. This happened early on in the year, and AWP is the biggest indie writing conference held in North America. It's held annually. I'm sure it'll be better this year because this year, next month, it's going to be held in the Black Shirt Paradise of Portland. I mean, just look at these guys. Don't they look like they're having fun? Yeah, I bet AWP is gonna be a freaking party. Good thing I'm not going. I made that mistake twice. Can give me again. But the first thing on this AWP failure list includes a seminar about online marketing. And the only tip is, well, don't do it. And the second woman just talked about clicks on Facebook and not even getting them. She was just giving numbers about the number of clicks that she's gotten. Failure number 2 at AWP. Every morning of AWP always starts out with an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting. No, literally, it is on the schedule. But they also have a bar in the bookseller's room, and there were multiple tables giving out free shots if you bought a book. And you wonder why they gotta have Alcoholics Anonymous at a book show. Number 3. If you're not crazy. So one woman went off on how we live in a white supremacist world and white people control literally everything that happens in every country across the entire world. She also said how impossible it is for her as a part Native American to live in Norway because they have burials on beer. Like I'm saying, I don't have a lot to say about this failure book because it was so short. It was probably less than 200 pages. The print was large, the spacing was large, and the writing was terrible. I am talking about Jeffrey Dahmer, a terrifying true story of rape, murder, and cannibalism by Jack Rosewood. The only good thing I have to say about this book is that it kind of lit the fires for my now growing Jeff collection over there. When you're writing a biography, the one thing you want to make sure that is correct are the dates. I remember somewhere in there it says he went to jail, but before that, in 1998, he did this thing. Mr. Jeff Dahmer died in 1994. What it actually meant to say was in 1988. Another failure. Felina Hopkins sent threatening letters to romance authors who used the word cocky in their title, because she had a series of books that she's decided to name the Cocky Brothers series or whatever, and she didn't want other people having cocky whatever books, so she thought that she could trademark just the use of cocky in a romance novel's title. Update to this story, her trademark failed. Finally, let's talk about some of the biggest book fails that I've run into this year because, let's face it, I've read a lot of bad books. Triple X Seamus by Red Hammond was a hot mess of edginess. My favorite thing about this novel is you open it up and the first couple of pages are a brief essay from the author about how he tried to get this book published, but no publisher would actually take the book because it was just too dang edgy. The content was just too dang edgy that nobody would touch it. And then he put it on Amazon and Amazon struck it down because it was just too dang edgy. And guess what? There aren't even Nazis in this. Nah, instead we've just got incest, addiction, fear of women, rape, romantic, stalking, abortion, and real-life sex dolls. Nothing else. This story does get creative, and I can give it that. What I would call fail 2, suicide in the cartoon forest. Lisa Cantrell, 92-page book with a bunch of short stories in it, and one of the stories in this book is a take on Beauty and the Beast, where she tries to escape the Beast by jumping out a window, breaks all of her bones, ends up in a body cast, and the Beast has sex with her while she's in a body cast, and then she dies. He kisses me tenderly between growls as he thrusts. I explode and my head swims. I can die happy, and I do. Beautiful. In this book there was also the teen edgy spirit, which I don't particularly like. I think it's trying too hard, but it reads as follows. I'm just rolling and rolling and rolling. I'm dancing and I feel like I will never be tired or need to eat or sleep again. Everything seems beautiful for one eternal sunshine moment. Waves of pleasure rolling over each other and over me. I am an ocean fuck pile. The moment is my soul. I am empty and full of love juice. I don't need to fuck to feel the fuck inside me. I am the fuck. I am the fuckness. Okay, edgelord. The moon is a hollow out alien base. There is no magic, only fear. The unicorn is dead and the aliens are filling me with its blood. I am a bloody rainbow. I can feel the blood of the unicorn inside me. I feel electrified. My blood is a glittery, fiery mess and my heart is going to explode. I feel orgasmic. I feel suicide. I feel my brain is going to spill out into the universe. The unicorn is the death of my soul. I am the death of the universe. This just makes me feel like Hot Topic, honestly. With the Confederacy of a Hot Dog. The biggest fail for me in this book was that the author wrote himself in. His writer friend, Christopher Paul, who was a decent guy for a hack Jew writer, commented, "Why don't you say something political with menstrual blood and, you know, like symbolism? The art scene might like that." Oh yes. Let's just put the destruction of art and Jews in the same sentence, why don't we? I don't know what decent guy is being juxtaposed to. Is decent guy being juxtaposed to hack, Jew, writer, or all of the above? All I remember is I threw out this book. I'm sorry, Confederacy of Hot Dogs, I would not take you with a side of fries. Another book I got from AWP last year was called Academy Gothic by James Tate Hill. It was called a hard-boiled noir meets academic satire. So here are, I'm just gonna read a couple of lines. He handed me a stick, the kind wrapped in foil that loses its flavor in a hurry. I could hear dark brown eyes and a smile just a bit naughty. Thayer pulled a big breath into his little lungs. Delilah left that one in the air for a while, let it collect on our shoulders like falling ash. I connected the syrupy accent to its lumbering owner, whose acquaintance I had made at the end of the afternoon memorial service. He tossed those words like a handful of sand into the ocean. Edward began a figure 8 around her legs, which she didn't let him finish. Sometimes when an animal likes someone, you can take it as a sign of essential goodness, but Edward liked anyone who scratched behind his ears. We all do. The rest of Delilah's thoughts were swallowed by Jefferson Toten's enormous jungle cat yawn. What might have been a laugh dripped thickly from his lips. He pronounced it slowly, a child wrapping his tongue around a species of dinosaur. Her frustrated words floated toward me with an odor I now recognized as human waste, pushing its way through a defenseless fiber of my cotton shirt. A smile ran away from his face. It had better places to be. I went around Mrs. Freeman's desk, relatively free of a bric-a-brac. I still don't know what that means. The brunette with whom I had slept last night crossed her legs. They were the kind of legs that benefited from a good crossing. Tweel seemed like a man under a quilt who doesn't want to be there. Molly shook her head hard, her black hair levitated like those carnival swings tethered to a carousel. She pushed me gently against the door, her lips pushed a little less gently against mine. Our tongues finished the job. It was a long job, but I didn't mind the work. "Fuck you," Juliet said, but took my advice on the tears. I spoke with the unconvincing interest of a man trying to delay the story's ending. Does anybody ever read anything out loud? The most disappointing thing about Academy Gothic is that it had the promise of ghosts, and there were none. Finally, this wouldn't be a fail of books that I've read if I didn't include Beachhead, because I'm only halfway through it. I know I said I was going to stop reading it, but it's like a train wreck through it, and there have been a couple major gaffes. Let me just introduce you to a few of them. He was gunned down by a freak with a fucking gun. A parole officer who is sobbing because John Lennon was murdered. In front of his parolee, mind you. Kinsey turned to the yard and noticed the summer tangers, ruby-throated hummingbirds, and eagles down from the cold air off the Chesapeake, looking for warmer climates to build nests and start their families. A pair of eagles had begun a nest in a tall pine near his garage. This happened almost every fall. Some years, no young were produced. This year, Kinsey couldn't help but hope to see a pair rise up out of the nest and add to the population, but more abundant and guaranteed were the return of the red-shouldered hawks perched atop telephone poles, watching the ground for witless lizards and snakes. I'd say that's a mighty gap if you're saying that hummingbirds, hawks, and eagles are all sharing the same space. I do apologize for that unfortunate surprise, as you're beginning to see none of this is an extinct science. And, my favorite that I have found so far. The first of the ones I'm talking about bled to death while yelling at the gator for taking his arm. The second guy got the hell out of there and found a hospital as fast as he could. He's doing fine, got a real nice prophylactic. You can't hardly tell. He had his arm ripped off, and he got a prophylactic, and you can't hardly tell. So those were some of the disasters that I've read this last year. I don't know what else to say, other than I'll see you later.